Can't believe it. I'm already breaking the rules. I'm taking my mask off. Okay. I don't know. Can you hear me okay? All right, good morning. Welcome to Heritage Universalist Unitarian Church. And to all of you on Zoom joining us today too, we are glad you're with us. I'm Jenny Hammerstadt, and I am really excited to be here on this Anything Could Happen Day. But first, I have several short announcements. Check your phones. That's the first thing. Check your phones, make sure they're either on airplane mode or turned off. That would be wonderful. If you're a visitor today, we welcome you. I know we have a few visitors out there today. We're so glad you're here. And after the service, if you have any questions, you can look for John Sandman. Is he still? He might still be outside. You may have seen him on your way in, but John Sandman, he's here, or any of us would be happy to help you too. And if you haven't already, you can sign the guest book that's outside or out the window there. Sign the guest book. If you are on Zoom and are a new member or visitor, sorry, you should have something pop up on the chat box and you can sign the guest book on Zoom. So if you are here in the sanctuary today, please notice that you have a single sheet of printed announcements that were handed out to you as you entered. They are many different colors, but other than that, they are absolutely identical. How about for our Zoom people? Let's go ahead and hold these up in the air, up high in the air, wave them, everybody, so our Zoom people can see this lovely rainbow of colors we have here in the sanctuary. So by now, you have discovered that there is no printed order of service. That is on purpose. It will keep you on your toes and not able to look ahead and see what's going to happen next. That's what this service is all about today. Besides, it saves a couple of person hours of staff time that would have gone into producing an order of service, and not to mention the paper and the ink. So if you didn't have a chance to read what this service was all about on the website, I'm going to read that little blurb that was on the website about today. And it said, "We often choose whether or not to go to church any given Sunday morning based on what the topic is going to be. What if we went because we wanted to be with one another? This morning, we can promise you some of our favorite traditions like candles of community, our covenant, our benediction, our outreach offering, etc. But we cannot promise you what will happen. Go ahead, be adventurous, go to church, see what happens." So that is what the description said. Even after knowing that, I'm sure you didn't expect a little US history review from me to happen right here, right now. But be warned, this lesson would not be approved by the Forest Hills School Board. In fact, it has 1/64th diversity in it. Oh no. So, but by golly, I'm going to do it anyway. Here we go. Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, James, Monroe. Adams again, then Jackson, Van Buren, and Harrison too. Tyler, Polk, and Taylor. Sounds like a rhyming game. Fillmore, Pierce, Buchanan, then Lincoln, my favorite of all. Johnson, Grant, then Rutherford, Hayes, then Garfield got the call. Arthur, Cleveland, Harrison, then Cleveland again. Oh my. McKinley, Roosevelt, Taft, and Wilson. Let's take a great big sigh. Harding, Coolidge, Hoover, Franklin D. Roosevelt too, Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy. I think we're almost through. 36, 37, 38, and 39 are Johnson, Nixon, Ford, and Carter. Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Barack Obama. Then, wait a minute. Reagan, Bush, Barack Obama. It's got to be a white dude because, you know, 1/64th diversity. So maybe it's a woman. You're right. Man, the Forest Hill School Board would sure not be happy with me right now for forgetting this one. But anyway, it's not worth wasting my time trying to remember. So this little ditty ends in 2022 with a man named Joe Biden. And now I'm through. All right. Is everybody ready for church this morning? Yes. All right. Let's see what happens. Enjoy.
Oh, let's see what already happened. Wow. I was smiling a lot during that. You can't see it. And I think I'm going to be smiling a lot throughout the morning. I began today with a call to worship from one of my dearest friends, Reverend Chip Roush of South Bend, Indiana. My wife and I will be getting to spend some special time, some quality time with Chip and his wife, Becky, later this month. And I wish similar opportunities for you and your dear friends in the days and weeks ahead. Chip writes, deeper than DNA, more fundamental than molecules or quarks, at our living core, we are wholeness and transfiguring love. We often forget that power, becoming lonely or resentful, comparing ourselves to others, acting out of our fears, rather than living in all our glory. But occasionally, just occasionally, we rouse from our trance to remember our wholeness. And for a time, we embody unsentimental and unconditional love. We make efforts to wake others and to remain fully present ourselves. Our lives and our time here together are made sacred by this striving. So for the next 60 to 75 minutes, and for the rest of our lives, may we be more aware of the spirit of life that is ever evolving within, through, and among us. Come, let us worship together. Please rise in body and or spirit wherever and whenever you are for our opening hymn and congregational covenant. The words will appear on a screen near you, or if you're with me here in the sanctuary and prefer, you can take out a hymnal and turn to number 360. Let's sing together, Here We Have Gathered.
Find a
By this covenant, we affirm that love is the spirit of this church, the quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. Thank you. So one of the things we do at Heritage each week, like most churches do, is pass the plate. But what we do that's pretty unusual is take the money that you give each week in the plate and give it away to an outside organization that fits with our values and our principles and helps to make the world a better place. Here to tell you about this week's outreach offering recipient is Aaron Walczewski.
Good morning. So they didn't tell me anything about church either. I knew a little bit about church service would be different today, and I worked together with Reverend Bill and Regina Pugh to select our recipient today, which is Ashoka International, but I wasn't really sure how to tie it in with the themes of the service because I didn't know what the themes of the service would be. But, inspired by Jenny, I have a trick too. Ready? Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Maine, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wyoming. Those are all the places you can help when you donate to Ashoka International. Ashoka International was actually founded in India. I wish I knew a song or a limerick or a rhyme for knowing all the countries of the world. It was established in India in 1981 under this idea of be the change you want to see in the world. Ashoka is a word derived from Sanskrit that means the active absence of sorrow. And this organization works to look at big ideas and make them come to fruition in the world. So starting in 1981, they started looking for big ideas and ways that they could affect the world. They came up with a fellows program to reward people with big ideas who wanted to be a change in the world. Some examples of some fellowship ideas or fellows ideas that they've had include the Homeless World Cup, which takes homeless people from around the world and gives them dignity and purpose through sports. Another example is something called Child Savings International, which helps people with financial literacy for children and youth, including in low-income areas around the world. More recently, in the early 2000s, they shifted to this idea. They still have fellows, but they shifted to this idea of everyone a change maker. They call it EACE, E-A-C-E, everyone a change maker. So they look for ways to empower people all across the globe and communities to say that you can be the one who has a good idea and who makes it happen in the world. Today, our offering, whether it's change or paper bills or checks or money donated online, will be to Ashoka International. These offerings are gratefully received. The URL, if you'd like to donate, is ashoka.org. That's ASHOKA.org.
Let the record show that there are more states than presidents. And we've already had some things happen this morning that I had no idea that they were going to happen. So that is great. I think we might move right now into something else that probably will evolve in some way that I don't know how it's going to be. Doug Beasley, our own Doug Beasley, has a song for us. What's on your mind this morning, Doug?
Hearing aid. Okay, get back in there. Okay, this is a song that my kids always liked. It was kind of one of those participation songs, so I'm going to ask for some participation here. I need some noises. And if anybody's been accused of being noisy, this is your place. Well, I need specific kinds of noises. I need a duck noise. Anybody make duck noises for it right now? Duck noises. Very good, very good. Now, what kind of noise does a frog make? Okay. And what kind of noise would a bug make? Okay. And what kind of noise do we say a snake makes? Yeah. Okay. When it comes at the end of each voice, I'm going to call for noises, and then do it until I say noises off. Yeah. Okay, so at the very end, though, I'm going to be a little sad. So I'm going to need for the final noise some cheery, laughter, pick-me-up sort of noises, okay? And I'll tell you that, all right? There's a little white duck swimming in the water, a little white duck doing what he oughta. He took a bite of the lily pad, flapped his wings, and he said, I'm glad I'm a little white duck floating in the water. Whack, whack, whack. Noise is off. Now there's a little green frog swimming in the water, a little green frog doing what he oughter. He jumped right off of the lily pad that the little duck bit, and he said, I'm glad I'm a little green frog swimming in the water. Noise is off.
Now there's a little black bug floating in the water, a little black bug doing what he oughter. He tickled the frog on the lily pad that the little duck bit, and he said, I'm glad I'm a little black bug floating in the water.
Now there's a little red snake lying in the water, a little red snake doing what he oughta. He frightened the duck and the frog so bad, he ate the little bug. And he said, I'm glad I'm a little red snake lying in the water. Now there's nobody left swimming in the water. Nobody left doing what they oughta. There's nothing left but the lily pad. The duck and the frog ran away. It's so sad. that there's nobody left. The women in the water.
You never do really know what'll happen to you. Thank you, Doug. And now some thoughts from Ellie Lamb from around the world.
Hello, I'm Ellie Lamb. I'm going to take this off so I feel like I'm communicating a little better. I gotta leave my glasses on. So, I was an usher and I saw some of you glancing at my t-shirt. You can't quite read it. I'm gonna explain the background of this. It says, I'm on my Wurst behavior. And there's a big sausage there. Because Wurst is the German word for sausage. Yay! Now, where this t-shirt came from, it's not one I usually wear. My nephew, well, first of all, my mother is German. She did not come to America until she was 26. And so my nephew lives in Indianapolis. He moved recently and he found a great German restaurant, the Heidelberg House, which is in Indianapolis. He didn't know it was there. He found this t-shirt there and he was coming to visit my mom, who is here in a senior living center. And so he decided to bring this shirt for her. Well, my mom is 96. She did not, when he came, she graciously accepted the gift. And then when he left, she said, I'm giving this to you, Ellie. First of all, she tried to make excuses, you know, that the collar is too tight, it probably doesn't fit me. Well, you want to try it on? No, no. But I think the problem was, she said, read it to me. I can't, she's got macular degeneration, so I was trying to read it to her, but she didn't understand it when there was a German word smashed in the middle of English words. So I think she didn't even know what the t-shirt was about. But anyway, this is what I'm bringing to you. It kind of leads into what I want to share, which is an article that I found by Melissa Moore. And there's no tricks up my sleeve. We had some tricky ladies here today. But this is monkeys in sleeves and other delightful idioms. I found this really cool. So Melissa says, I was at a dinner party with a Dutch guest who at one point during the conversation exclaimed, now, the monkey comes out of the sleeve. All the non-Dutch speakers were stumped by this phrase spoken in English. However, it clearly illustrates Merriam-Webster's definition of idiom, an expression that has a meaning that cannot be derived from the combined meanings of its elements, and they're in all languages. It turns out that this is the Dutch version of the English idiom, the cat's out of the bag. Or, now the truth is revealed. Now, idioms trip up language learners because they tend to use short, common words that even beginning students know, but they make so little sense. Inspired by monkeys in sleeves, I looked for similarly puzzling idioms in other languages. Now, this is Melissa. Here are some of the wonderful ones that I found. Now, many languages express the idea it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. With an idiom involving animals doing something impossible. Now, we're in Cincinnati, so in English, we say, I'll do that when pigs fly. We all know about flying pigs. In French, it's when hens have teeth. But the Russian version of this takes the cake. It is, wait for it, when the lobster whistles on top of a mountain. It's never gonna happen. Now, common animals feature often in idioms around the world. And while the animals may be the same, ducks, for instance, they are deployed differently in the different languages. In English, we want to get our ducks in a row, and it means to get organized. In Brazilian Portuguese, people pay the duck. They pay the duck, meaning they accept responsibility for something they didn't do. They pay the duck. Now, why waterfowl are involved in this, I don't know, but if someone tells you there is a cow on the ice in Swedish, they mean relax, relax. No, there is no cow on the ice. Sorry, I left out a word. Relax, there's no cow on the ice. So I guess, you know, Swedish people get really stressed out when there's a cow on the ice. I don't know. There is no cow on the ice, but this is not to be confused with the Dutch when cows dance on ice, meaning never. Cows never dance on ice, and the Dutch have all those canals, right? So they're worried about, I don't know. Cats, however, and I know there are a lot of cat lovers, but cats rarely get treated well idiomatically. In France, you will hear, I have other cats to whip, which means other fish to fry, but that seems kind of cruel. But then we eat the fish. So, you know, in Japanese, wearing a cat on one's head is pretending to be nice, perhaps because of a cat's habit of keeping its claws sheathed until it wants to shred the furniture. Pretending to be nice. Food is also a common idiom, commonly used for idioms. And when French speakers say the carrots are cooked, they mean nothing can be done about the situation. The carrots are cooked. On the other hand, it's a carrot in Korean means of course and obviously. It's a carrot. Here we go. With the Germans have quite a few sausage sayings. And we know what sausage is, Wurst. That sausage to me in English is Das ist mir Wurst. And it translates to I don't care. It's not important. Das ist mir Wurst. But when someone says now it's about the sausage, jetzt geht es die Wurst, it's very important, referring to crunch time. When a decision finally has to be made, it's now or never. Jetzt geht es die Wurst. But Melissa's favorite comes from the Polish, and you might have heard this, not my circus, not my monkey, not my problem. Thank you.
So now you know how the sausage is made. And I just want to point out that as a man of words, as a man of language, I really love idioms. I'm also aware that there's only one letter difference between idiom and idiot in English. And to me, that means every letter is important. Every letter matters, just like every one of you, just like all of us. So now prepare to be wowed by the piano prowess of our own. It's time, Eli Lafette. You're on. Thank you, Eli. And thanks again to everyone who has already shared today so far this morning. You never know what will happen when you come to church, which is why you should come to church. As Jenny said earlier, one good reason to come to church also is to be together, to share some fleeting moments in our busy lives with one another, and to appreciate the gift of community, of this community. So I want to offer a little appreciation maybe for the weather this week. Well, hasn't the weather been great this week? I tell you what. I hope you had the chance, or maybe had several chances, to get outside and enjoy it this week. I wish I had done more of that, but I did yesterday because my wife Jennifer and I, even though both of us worked yesterday, did make some time to get outside and enjoy the fresh air. We took a walk in the woods at Heritage Acres and watched and listened to the stream and took some time just to appreciate the natural beauty that surrounds us as we each live our lives every day. Now, I might have been particularly aware of the need to do such things this week because of a dream I had probably Monday. I don't remember many of the details of the dream, but there are two things I do remember. One, my 26-year-old son Patrick and I were together somewhere, and I was trying to impart some wisdom to him. And the thing is, in real life, IRL, I received the exact same wisdom from my father at roughly the same age Patrick is now. And I have had a less than stellar record of living by it. Two, a set of words kept recurring throughout this dream, a mantra almost. The wisdom my father offered me from his life experience and the wisdom I was trying to offer Patrick from my own real life experience in the dream. It was these words: it all goes by so fast. And doesn't it, after all? Life goes by so fast. This summer has gone by so fast. I love what I just saw. I'm going to call you out, Aaron, because this is the message I'm trying to convey. It goes by so fast. Kids grow up so fast. It's the start of school. They're going to be in a higher grade, the ones that are in school still. Maybe somebody just graduated. I've got friends who are taking their only son to college later this week. They're coming through here. They're going to stay with us, and then they're going to take him up to a school in northern Ohio. And we did the same thing 8 years ago with Patrick when we took him off to college. So life goes by so fast. That's what my father was trying to tell me way back when I was just out of college myself. And I thought I'd be brilliant and mature and ask my father if he had one thing he could tell me, his only child, about life. What would it be? And he paused and he looked into the distance, and his eyes grew teary. And he said, "Slow down. Just slow down. It all goes by so fast." Now, did I take that lesson, that hard-earned life truth, to heart? Nah, not really. Not the way I should have. But I'm proud to report that my son is taking it to heart. You bet he is. Which kind of makes you wonder why I was having that dream where I was telling him this wisdom. But we know that dreams are really ourselves trying to tell us something. And so this morning, I just wanted to say it to you. It all goes by so fast. Savor the moment. I'm also giving you a reading assignment today, a book that I want you to get and to read. Because I know that many of us need to read this book. I've got it checked out from the library right now, but they do have other copies, as does your favorite bookseller. It's called 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals. As you might imagine, I like the premise that our time is limited and that because we know we're going to die, we should live accordingly. And since I've just given you a reading assignment, I'm going to get you a head start on it. Here's the introduction. The average human lifespan is absurdly, terrifyingly, insultingly short. Here's one way of putting things in perspective. The first modern humans appeared on the plains of Africa about 250,000 years ago, and scientists estimate that life in some form will persist for another 1.5 billion years or more on this planet until the intensifying heat of the sun condemns the last organism to death. But you, well, assuming you live to be 80, you'll have about 4,000 weeks. Certainly you might get lucky, make it to 90, and you'd have almost 4,700 weeks, and so on and so on. Expressing the matter in such startling terms makes it easy to see why philosophers from ancient Greece to the present day have taken the brevity of life to be the defining problem of human existence. We've been granted the mental capacities to make almost infinitely ambitious plans, yet practically no time to put them into action. This space that has been granted to us rushes by so speedily and so swiftly, lamented Seneca, the Roman philosopher, that all save a very few find life at an end just when they are beginning to get ready to live. When I first made the 4,000 weeks calculation, I felt queasy. But once I'd recovered, I started pestering my friends and asking them to guess off the top of their heads, don't do any mental math, how many weeks they thought the average person could expect to live. One named a number in the 6 figures. And yet I felt obliged to inform this person a fairly modest 6-figure number is the approximate duration of all the weeks of human civilization in history. So it follows that time management, broadly defined, should be everyone's chief concern. Arguably, time management is all life is. Yet the modern discipline known as time management, like its hipper cousin, productivity, is a depressingly narrow-minded affair, focused on how to crank through as many work tasks as possible, or on devising the perfect morning routine, or on cooking all your dinners for the week in one big batch on Sundays. I know people who have done that and are doing that today. These things matter to some extent, no doubt, but they're hardly all that matters or what really matters. So this book is an attempt to redress the balance, to see if we can't discover or recover some ways of thinking about time that do justice to our real situation, the outrageous brevity and shimmering possibilities of our 4,000 or so weeks. That's how Oliver Burkeman introduces this important book that he subtitles Time Management for Mortals. Now, by the way, there's a much nicer cover that some copies of this book have. You get bonus points, not to mention probably a more soothing reading experience, if you can find a copy with this cover, which obviously I did not. So we get about 4,000 weeks, give or take. But we know that not everyone lives to be 80. We recently buried a church member at 73. Her final resting place at Heritage Acres is next to a man who passed at the age of 42. He got just over 2,000 weeks. And there are others who have much less time on this earth. But the question is not how much time, how many weeks we have, but what we do with that time, how we live those weeks, how we live this week. Most of us, hopefully all of us, have this upcoming week to live. How are we going to live it? That's the question. This morning on the way to church, I took a turn that I don't usually take and was almost instantly rewarded by pulling up to a stoplight, and right to my left, and I'm on the driver's side, and this is not England, so it was on my side. There are all these orange flowers, red flowers, big green leaves. It was beautifully landscaped. And the light kept being red, and I was grateful for the light being red. That never happens. I'm like, stay red, light, let me look at these flowers. And then I'm thinking to myself, color. There's so much beautiful color to experience. And I'm reminded of my brother-in-law who's colorblind. And he says it doesn't impact him at all. He actually built a boat himself, a two-person boat, and him and one other person sailed across the Atlantic Ocean. 2 people in a boat that he built. He can't see the colors I just saw, but he had an incredible, incredible experience that I would never have. Because life has limitless possibilities for these rich experiences. No matter what our situation, it's just up to us to help make them rich. It's up to us to experience them as rich experiences. A couple of times later in the service here, I'm going to ask you to do something, but I'm going to ask you to do it right now too. Just look as you can, out a window, the round one, some other one, and take a breath and appreciate the ability to experience what you're seeing and what you're experiencing, and the ability to think about that. The awareness of your surroundings and of your experiences. We have so many blessings, not the least of which, as I said, is this community, where we hold each other, where we help each other, where we love each other. Let's live in the moment and live in the beauty of that blessing as much as possible, because it all goes by so fast. Now, I've asked my friend Les to help me and maybe help us consider a way to keep that in mind. Les, what's the message that you have for us today?
My message is don't worry, be happy. So if you know any part of this, sing along with me. And it's a message that I'm also singing to myself. Steph, give me a B flat. Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry. Be happy. In every life we have some trouble, but when you worry, you make it double. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy now. Ooh, don't worry. Ooh, be happy. Ooh, don't worry, be happy. Ooh, don't worry. Ooh, be happy. Ooh, ain't got no place to lay your head. Somebody came and took your bed. Well, don't worry. be happy. The landlord says your rent is late. I think I'll have to litigate. Well, don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy now. Ooh, don't worry. Ooh, be happy. Ooh, don't worry, be happy. Ooh, don't worry. Ooh, be happy. Ooh, one more verse. Ain't got no cash, ain't got no style, ain't got no one to make you smile. Well, don't worry. Be happy. 'Cause when you worry, your face will frown, and that will bring everybody down. So don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy now. Ooh, ooh, ooh. One more time. Don't worry, be happy now. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Thank you, Les. Now, Kathy Wade and I have a couple of poems to share with you. And what I'm going to invite you to do, if you are willing and able, wherever you are, and as I often say, whenever you are as well, when the poem is being read, if you're here in the sanctuary, I invite you to look out this window and just kind of focus on something. Do a little focused meditation if you can, and have a visual experience as well as a word experience at the same time. See if you can hold those two things together. If not, that's okay too. So focus visually on something while you're hearing our poems, and then in between, I'll also invite you to do something too. Kathy?
Hello, everyone. So I don't have a trick to do like everybody else, but I do have this skirt. So I did not make this skirt, but an artist in Asheville, North Carolina, had it hanging in her booth, and I said to Forrest, I have to have that skirt. So there's a little story with the skirt. The poem I'm going to read to you, the title is A Gift of Starlings. And it so happens that this was a gift given to me as I looked out my window. A gift of starlings. To look up from my desk at just the right moment to spot in the sky a murmuration of starlings, crisscrossing the pale blue palette. Common ancient birds dipping and twisting, wringing themselves like spotted chiffon. Shape-shifting trickery, all to avoid a predator bird pursuing, pecking, without ever penetrating their edge. Ever-changing, expanding, contracting, separate and yet one. disappearing from my window frame, undulating eastward, leaving an ancient and wonderful vision of improvisation across the sky, a calling card, a gift.
And now for a moment, just let Kathy's thoughtful words settle. Allow your gaze perhaps to continue focusing on what you were looking at. Let your breath rise and fall gently and naturally. If you're not already looking at something outside, wherever you happen to be, I invite you to do that again. Maybe the same thing, maybe something different, maybe a murmuration has come by. And do the same thing again as I read this next poem, written by Cindy Terlazzo, titled "With Love as My Guide." Amidst the swirl of life's challenges and fears, and even in moments of crisis, I take time to gaze at the night sky, to see the vastness there, and to remember that this moment in time is but a flicker. Not an inconsequential flicker at all, mind you, because what I do and think right now matter. My work, my spiritual work, is to let the debris of this world pass on by while I anchor myself to three things I know to be true: love, kindness, compassion. And so again, let yourself absorb these words, these thoughts, as you gaze not at the night sky, but at this day's brilliant gifts and the images you see before you. And take a deep breath, maybe blink your eyes a couple of times to come back from your gazing. And I'd love to hear what the past few minutes have been like for you, what experience you've had hearing these two poems, these words, these thoughts, seeing what you've seen visually. If you had but one word to express what you've experienced with these two poems and this process, what would that word be? If you're in a sanctuary, just say that word out loud and I'll repeat it so that people on Zoom can hear it. And I'm also going to invite people on Zoom to type one word into the chat about their experience of this process, and Kevin will show that in a moment so we can hear those as well. What words come to your mind for this little poetic exercise? Gratitude. Wonder. Awakening. Peace. Opening, I think. Calm. Time. Life. Connection. Tranquility. We got anything on Zoom? amazing, soaring, illuminating, relaxing, pause. You can give yourself these feelings anytime. You can take 5 or 10 minutes. You can use a poem, you can use a piece of music. You can use the natural world that surrounds you or the inner world that you have inside you. But I invite you to make time to replicate such experiences and to feel such feelings. Thank you all for going on that little journey with me. Let's have our heritage ritual, candles of community.
Well, a special way we come together as a community each week is to share our joys and sorrows. First, I'll read any requests that were written in the Candles book and those that were sent by email. So we light this last candle to honor those unspoken joys and sorrows that we all have close, or holding close in our hearts. So in a minute, I'm going to read a poem that I absolutely love, titled For a New Beginning. But first, I want to say a few things about it. So I've had a lot of new beginnings in my life. I bet most of us can say that. I know, Dave, I just heard you have a lot going on too. Often, though, it's those hard times that force us to make changes and to have new beginnings. So the first part of this poem gently reminds me of some of those times that I'd like to forget, but I know that I have to remember so that I don't ever go back to those days. Then the rest of the poem, well, the rest of the poem makes me happy, makes me hopeful. The last part of the poem completely captures the aliveness that I feel as I move through a new beginning. And that is why I love this poem. It's called For a New Beginning by John O'Donohue. In out of the way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. For a long time it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered. Heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, wondered, would you always live like this? Then the delight when your courage kindled and you stepped out onto new ground, your eyes young again with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening, unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold nothing back. Learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will find a home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses the world that awaits you.
How about the unplanned, unexpected, non-coincidental grace of that poem right after Dave's candle? So as we near the end of our service today, I want to share with you a video. This is the official video of one of my favorite songs. Pay close attention to the images in this video while also basking in the beauty and the poignancy of the words. This is Soul Meets Body by Death Cab for Cutie.
soaring through my atmosphere. A melody softly soaring through my atmosphere. A melody softly soaring through my atmosphere.
This morning we have exercised our minds, hopefully stretched our spirits, and perhaps even opened our hearts. But what have we done with our bodies? How can we bring this most recent song and this video into full being and embodiment here, now, in this moment? Soul meeting body. What I'd like us to do as we begin the closing part of our service is to get in touch with our bodies. And I know we have very different bodies. That's part of the beauty and the diversity of this life. But I'm going to invite those who can to stand up, to get a little space between you and the person around you, regardless of whether you can stand. That doesn't matter. You may choose to sit, or you may have to sit. But we all are embodied spiritual creatures. And in our bodies lives something beautiful and profound. And so we've meditated in different ways. I'd like to invite us to meditate by just exploring and moving that body in any way we can. It might be graceful, it might not be graceful. It might be a little bit, it might be a lot. We might be able to control or think we can control what we're doing, and we might not. But we have a body and we have a soul. And when the two meet, that is about as profound an experience as we can have. Now, I might be doing more stuff if I weren't trying to stay in front of the microphone. But as you stretch, and I know you've been patient throughout the service, just kind of feel what's going on. It may feel good, it may feel painful. We're with you. We're with each other as any of this happens. So just a little movement meditation. As someone said earlier, just kind of let the Spirit flow. No right, no wrong. And I'm not going to ask you to be seated again, so this is how we're going to end the service, sort of. Except that now there's one more video. We usually have a closing hymn, which is usually something that you may or may not know, which you have to follow along to the words, which you might sing very begrudgingly or not at all, or with enthusiasm. But today's closing song, I think you can sing without much effort. I think you can sing it enthusiastically. I think you will know that there's millions of people who have sung this song, and there's a certain way this song gets sung. I got a video that goes with it because during the pandemic, it was hard to get together in a big group and sing. So somebody had a pretty good idea. Take one of the world's most recognizable songs and ask people to make a little video of themselves singing it, and then let's splice it together and make a worldwide singing of this song. So let's sing our closing hymn together with enthusiasm, with our bodies and our voices. Let's do it, Kevin.
I can't begin to know it, but then I know it's growing strong.
Was in the spring,
And spring became the summer.
who'd have believed you'd come along?
Touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. Look at the night, and it don't seem so lonely. We filled it up with only two. And when
Burden runs off my shoulders. How can I hurt when holding you?
warm, touching warm, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. So good. I've been inclined to believe they never would.
Oh, no, no.
The times never seem so good. So good.
Sweet Caroline,
I believe they never could.
Sweet Caroline. Sweet Vanessa. Good times never seem so good. All right, I think we're all holding hand. Thank you for going on this journey with me today. You never know what will happen when you come to church. May the spirit of life that each of us possesses flow from one to the other. May it stay with us. And bring us peace and harmony. Until we meet again. Amen. Go in peace. Have a great week. Enjoy your week.